Sensibility. The exits are in the corners. No flash photography, and please silence all cell phones. We hope you enjoy the show.
I think that I should give them £1,000 apiece to start their new life.
Wasn't he a rich man already?
Oh yes, he married into rich. But his wife, not a sympathetic creature, moved to Norland a day after the funeral, without a word of notice to the new widow.
My dear John, how can you think of taking £4,000 from the fortune of our dear little boy? What possible claim could the Miss Dashwoods, who are only related to you by half-blood, have to so large an amount?
My father's also prosperous that I provide for them, Fanny.
Your father knew not what he was speaking of, I dare say. 10 to 1 he was light-headed at the time. £4,000.
He did not specify any particular amount. Perhaps if the sum were diminished by one-half, £500 apiece would be a great increase to their fortunes.
£2,000? What brother on earth would do so much for even his real sisters?
One had rather do too much than too little. Do you think that they may expect more?
Who knows what they may expect?
£2,000 all at once might overwhelm them and be spent unwisely, I suppose. Perhaps a yearly sum instead.
People always live forever when there is an annuity to be paid them. To be very honest, my love, I'm convinced that your father had no idea of giving them any money. I wager that when he told you to provide for them, he meant for you to help them with their things and provide them with occasional presents of fish and game and so forth. My darling, may I risk being perfectly frank?
Always, my angel.
The painful truth is that even on his deathbed, your father thought not of us nor our little Harry. He thought only of them. So you owe no particular attention to his wishes, for given his way, he would have left everything in the world to them. Remember, my dear, he left them all the best china.
China is of material consideration. It is absolutely unnecessary, I think, to do more than help them move comfortably. How liberal and handsome you are, madame.
Oh,
Please do excuse me.
Mr. Ferris!
Miss Dashwood, please pardon me. I do not intend to intrude.
Oh, no, you aren't intruding. Are you,
Oh, yes, I am. Writing a letter. Oh, are you? I see. Are you as well?
I am writing, yes. Mr. Ferris, pray do not leave. On my account, that is the, lighting is very good here.
Miss Dashwood, I fear I have not yet had the proper occasion to express to you my very sincere condolences on the loss of your father.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Miss Dashwood, I hope my presence here has not caused you any additional stress. My sister, I confess that I was not entirely informed of the particulars before my visits.
Oh, no, Mr. Ferris, you needn't apologize. In fact, thank you. My mother said only yesterday that your presence at Norman has been a great comfort, and I am very grateful for anything that raises her spirits.
I am pleased that your mother is pleased. That is my time to inquire after Mrs. Dashwood.
It is rather early for any moderation in grief. My father's death, it is very difficult.
I'm sure you must have been a great comfort to her.
I attempt to be. I'm writing to our cousin, Sir John Middleton. He may have a cottage available for us in Devonshire. The rent is uncommonly moderate.
I could imagine how difficult it is to leave your home.
Yes, we've been very happy here. I must not so much this.
Oh, Miss Dashwood, no, please pardon me. I did not mean to upset you.
Mr. Ferris, I cannot use this.
Oh, Miss Dashwood, no, I beg your pardon.
It's
no.
very kind of you.
I am very sorry.
beg
This
your
is very
pardon.
inexcusable.
No, please stop. You're going to
very
spirits.
sorry. Oh,
There is ink on your face.
thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and the native hue of resolution is sicklied over the pale cast of thought,
With spirit, Edward!
and enterprises with great pith and moments.
Edward, in this speech, Hamlet is not making polite conversation. He is all of mankind, all of humankind, railing against the forces that attempt to keep us tame, that prevent us from acting upon our soul's truest impulses. You must be driven almost mad by passion, by rage, by love for the frail beauty of life itself.
With disregard, their currents turn away.
Edward, Shakespeare writes in a rhythm which precisely matches that of the human heart. If your heart also beats, which I presume it does,
Yes.
then it is impossible for you not to feel all the depths of Hamlet's text. Now, and thus the native hue of resolution is sickly and all with the pale cast of thought.
With this regard, the currents turn away and lose the name of action.
Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, Marianne,
Soft you now, the fair Ophelia,
nymph in thy orisons.
nymph in thy orisons, be all my sins remembered.
Oh, Edward.
I'm sorry.
A noble effort. Why would you give him Hamlet to begin, Marianne?
Nay, Mamma, as one is not to be animated by Hamlet, though I suppose you must allow for differences in taste.
In truth, you have done me a service. In all seriousness now, I may tell my mother that I have no talent for public speaking.
Will she take such a defeat willingly? Your sisters always telling us that you were destined to be a very great orator.
My life work seems to convince both Fanny and my mother that I am unsuited for public scrutiny.
Then how is your fame to be established? For famous you must be to satisfy them.
I cannot be forced into greatness, thank heaven.
And do you have no ambition?
My ambition is to be happy, but I fear it must be my own way. Wealth and fame will not make me so.
Strange as it would, what should wealth or fame have to do with being happy?
Wealth has much to do with it.
Eleanor, for shame!
Money determines more than you might wish, Marianne.
Edward, you promised me you'd show me fancying the puppies before dinner!
Oh, I did. Shall we make a party of it?
I've seen them already.
It must be a quick visit, Margaret. Please do wear your boots. It's raining.
I don't know where they are. It's scarcely raining.
Let us ask Betsy if they've been laid aside.
What a pity it is, Eleanor, that Edward reads so spiritlessly.
Marianne, you've been hectoring him all afternoon and you've only made him more self-conscious. If you would leave him alone for a moment, I'm sure that he would read very well indeed.
I was only trying to help. Eleanor, are you truly offended?
Do you really think him spiritless?
I have the highest opinion possible of Edward, I assure you. I think him all things worthy and amiable.
Must you always speak so warmly?
Don't you agree?
I think Edward is very sensible. His mind is excellent, and if he is not always a brilliant orator, it is only shyness that impedes him.
Indeed.
Perhaps he may sometimes appear awkward, but I believe that is only because he strives so earnestly never to hurt any living creature out of careless thought or action.
Yes.
I grant you perhaps he is not fashionable.
No.
Perhaps he is not even widely considered handsome, but once you notice his eyes, which are uncommonly good, and consider the general sweetness of his expression, well, I find him very handsome indeed. But what say you, Marianne?
I swear that when you tell me to love him as a brother, I shall think him perfect indeed.
Marianne, I do not deny that I think very highly of Edward. That I greatly esteem him. That I like him.
Esteem him, like him, cold-hearted Eleanor.
Excuse me for speaking so quite away of my emotions. Believe them to be stronger than I have declared, but I do not believe Edward feels anything for me beyond friendship.
Eleanor.
He may have a kind of preference.
Uh-huh.
But there are further factors to be considered, Marianne. He is dependent on his mother for a living and must obey her wishes in all things. Edward would face many obstacles if he chose to marry a woman with no fortune.
Do not be diffident, Eleanor. It is obvious that Edward is desperately in love with you, and no material obstacle can stand in the way of love for long, so it is only a matter of time.
Before
Before he binds his soul to yours forever.
Where do you pick up these phrases? Stop it, you're a goose. Stop, we must go in for dinner.
There was a brown one and a white one. And the one that was almost all white was a brown spot in his ear.
Oh, they were all so sweet. Do you think, Mama, I may be able to have one as my particular pet? She could sleep in the barn.
We shall see, my dear. You don't know how much room we will have in the new house.
How fortunate, ma'am, that you were able to find lodging so soon. We're very sorry to lose you, of course.
When exactly are you planning to move?
I might have immediate possession of the cottage, but I imagine it'll be some months before we put all the particulars to rights.
I do not think it right that you're moving so far away.
Not too far to visit. Fanny, you and John will always be welcome. And Edward, I do hope that you will come and stay with us very soon.
I will. I will certainly visit soon.
But not too soon, Edward. We would not want you to cut short your visit here, and then you have so many other obligations. You know Maman expects you next month when Miss Morton is visiting.
I'm not even acquainted with Miss Morton, Fanny. I am sure I can manage both.
Edward, do not make promises you cannot keep. My brother, as you know, is soft-hearted and always wishes to please everybody at every time. But we must not allow him to become too distracted. You see, my brother has very, very high potential and we have great expectations for him. There is truly no limit to what he may accomplish, whether it is in the army, the law, or the government.
Hear, hear.
You know, it is quite difficult to have such very high potential as my brother does. And, you know, we must not allow him to become distracted.
What do you mean, madam?
You see, my brother is a fox. And howling all around him are hunters and hounds. Oh, oh.
A fox, Fanny.
Oh, forgive me, am I being terribly abstract? He is a target, my love. He is prey. Opportunists are always circling, eager to pounce. An eligible man of my brother's station will always attract, for example, upwardly minded young ladies. There is no predator so vicious, no creature so shameless as an unmarried woman in the desperate pursuit of a wealthy man. It is a sad reflection of our limited age, and I assure you, such fortune hunters are all too common. And I do use that term only.
Fanny!
What? I'm merely making conversation.
I misspoke earlier. We shall remove ourselves from this house within the week, no matter the expense. I've lost my appetite. Girls, come.
Well, wait, Miss Dashwood, wait! I just wanted to say very safe travels to you.
We are really very fortunate, dear.
Where shall I put my telescope? You may put it next to my pianoforte. You can spy on the neighbours.
Marianne!
You may not spy on the neighbours.
It is rather small, but I'm sure that we will soon have plenty of money, and then we can think about building.
Hello! Miss Dashwood, welcome. May I present my mother-in-law, Miss Jennings?
Hello, how do you do? Oh, it's so thrilling to meet your relation. Excuse these dogs. They get over excited. Hush!
So John, my daughters, Eleanor, Marianne, and Margaret.
Have you ever seen Pretty Girls in London? Hush, you!
I'm sure they have left many broken young gentlemen in Devonshire. Hush!
You must of course down at Barn Park every day until your supper.
Come, you must come. Hush! We shall not leave it till you've agreed to come. Hush!
We shall wait on you for dinner. It's no inconvenience.
Ladies, you shall be so pleased.
Excitement.
The Pretty Girls in all England.
Hush! Hush!
I must apologize to you, Miss Eleanor and Marianne. I was unable to find any eligible young bachelors here tonight. Only our particular friend, Colonel Brennan, But he is neither young nor very gay, I'm afraid. Brandon, old boy, come and feast your eyes upon Miss Eleanor and Marianne Dashwood.
Brandon?
Aren't they the most charming girls in all England? To dinner, I only hope you will not find it so very dull.
Miss Margaret, surely you can tell us the name of the young man who's Miss Eleanor's particular favourite in Sussex?
I must not tell. May I, Eleanor?
Margaret, remember that whatever conjectures you may have, you've no right to repeat them.
I never had any conjectures about it. It was you who told me of it yourself. Ow!
Pray, Miss Margaret, let us know all about it. What is the gentleman's name?
I must not tell, ma'am, but you know very well where he is and where he is too.
We can guess where he is. In Norland, to be sure. He's going to the parish, I dare say.
He is of no profession at all.
You know that this is all of your own invention and there is no such person in existence.
Well, then, he is lately dead. Mom showed us such a man once, and his name begins with an F.
F.
It has rained. It has rained very hard recently. In fact, I think it has rained every day for the past fortnight. Don't you find the weather unusually inclement as of late, ma'am?
Rain. Shocking rain.
Yes, it has been a very wet spring. Margaret, would you be so good as to join me at the pianoforte? Why? Oh, Miss Marianne, do play? Please do excuse my sister's enthusiasm.
No, time to play by all means.
Yes, we are all prepared to be charmed.
Very fond of music.
Listening while she sang, and on the second visit, when you listen to her sing again, it's an excellent match. For he is rich and she is handsome. I'm sure you need not wait any longer.
A bit more with the tooth when my Cassandra set her cap at him. That was 10 years ago.
Oh, and that great big property inherited. I cannot think of it, but I am breathless. Such a sober man.
A young pretty woman, if breathe life into him or kill him within a fortnight.
conversation. When is a man to be safe from such wit if age and infirmity cannot protect him?
Infirmity? Do you call Colonel Brandon infirm?
Just yesterday, he spoke of his flannel waistcoat.
And?
A flannel waistcoat for his aching joints, the commonest signifier of a declining life.
My dear child, you estimate the colonel thus? I imagine you must be in continual terror of my decay. It must seem to you a miracle I still live.
Mamma, you do not do me justice. I know that Colonel Brandon is in no danger of any immediate expiration. He may live 20 years longer, but a man of his age should have nothing to do with matrimony.
Maybe a man of his age and a woman of your age should have nothing to do with matrimony together. But if a woman were to be single at 30, I do not think anyone would object to the Colonel marrying her.
A woman of 30 can never hope to feel or inspire affection again. If her fortune is small, I suppose she may bring herself to be a nurse for the security of being a wife.
Must you doom Colonel Brandon to a slow decline because he has complained about an ache in his shoulder? If he were in a violent fever, you would not despise him half so much. Confess, Marianne, is there not something thrilling about the flushed cheek, hollow eye, and quick pulse of a fever?
Hello!
I will take them.
Margaret, will you go and put your boots on, please?
We're not still going for a walk, are we? It's going to rain!
No, it is not. Now go and put your boots on, please.
Oh, boots. Boots, boots, boots.
Mamma, I have had an alarm on the subject of sickness which I must discuss with you. I am sure that Edward Ferrars is not well.
Oh?
We have been here almost a fortnight and he has still not visited us. What else but grave illness could be keeping him away?
Does Eleanor respect him?
She must.
She said nothing to me.
It is also strange. Did you know, on our last morning at Norwood, I left them alone together twice, and both times he most unaccountably followed me out of the room.
What? Are you still walking? It still looks as though it's going to rain.
Marianne! All this talk of a wet spring. It is not going to rain. The day will be everlastingly fair. Now come along.
A very wet spring. We should tell Betsy to put on tea. They'll be soaked through.
Eleanor! Mama! Miriam fell and has her ankle, and a gentleman grabbed her right up!
Margaret, what?
Miriam's preserver! Miriam's preserver! Miriam's preserver!
Please forgive the intrusion, ma'am. The lady took a tumble and is unable to stand.
Margaret, run and tell Betsy what has happened. Miriam, do you say you are in much pain?
Oh, it's only a wretched ankle, I think.
I think I would do it there. Please, let me sit, take some tea.
I'm dirty and wet. I do not want to spoil your furniture.
Might I ask to whom we are so obliged?
My name is John Willoughby. I hope, ma'am, that you will allow me the honour of calling tomorrow to inquire after Miss...
Dashwood. Is that her name? I'm Mrs. Dashwood, Mrs. Eleanor, Margaret, and...
Miss Marianne Dashwood.
Please, sir, you'll be very welcome. Will you not wait for the rain to clear?
Thank you, ma'am, but my porters are outside waiting for me. A little more water will not melt me. Until tomorrow.
Miriam, Gallic, preserver!
And then Mama asked him whether he would sit down, but he would not, as he was so muddy and dirty. But he's the call again today.
Do you know any gentleman by the name of Willoughby?
Willoughby? What is he in the county? He is down here every spring. I must ask him with dinner on Thursday.
And what sort of young man is he?
A good fellow as ever lived, not a border rider in England.
And where's his residence?
Mr. Willoughby has no property of his own in this county. He resides here while visiting his rich old cousin, Mrs. Smith, at Alham Court. He's to inherit all the estate and fortune eventually.
Oh,
He's very well worth catching, Mr. Ashwood, and if I were you, I would not give him up so easily to my youngest sister. Miss Marianne does not expect to have all the ones herself. Brandon will be jealous if she does not take care.
My daughters, Sir John, have not been brought up to catch gentlemen. I am glad to hear, however, that he is a respectable young man.
Of course he is respectable, Mamma.
I see how it is. You will be setting your cap at him and never think of poor Brandon. How can he compete against all the tumbling of dogs and spreading of ankles?
Yes, I dare say that Scott or Pope would be more serious-minded answers, but I'm afraid that Cowper is my favourite poet of our time.
Cowper may be the greatest poet of any time. Pray, Willoughby, tell me, what is your favourite poem? I say mine must be Hope.
I think...
Oh, see me sworn to serve thee and command, a painter's skill into a poet's hand.
That while I, trembling, trace a work divine, fancy may stand aloof from the design. And light and shade, and every stroke be thine.
Mr. Willoughby, won't you join us for dinner?
Thank you, ma'am, but I must dine with my cousin at Allenham. I had no idea it was getting so late. Might I inquire after Miss Marianne again tomorrow?
By all means.
Until tomorrow.
Well, Marianne, nobody could ever accuse you of being too reserved.
You are right, Eleanor. I have been too at ease, too happy, too frank. I have been open and sincere when I ought to have been spiritless and dull. I suppose I should have talked only of the roads and the weather, and only spoken once every 10 minutes, or better yet, never spoken at all.
My love, she's just teasing you. No, surely we would never wish to check Marianne's conversations with her new friend.
A love match indeed.
I hear that Mr. Willoughby visits the Dashwoods every day.
You think up in the driving range. Oh, didn't know you have a penny novel. Married within a month. Mark my words.
But he has no known he's married. So have to tell me about all his cousin of his.
But when he inherits her, he will be rich and she will be handsome. What will be more rich?
Look at them. No eyes for anyone else in the world.
This is indeed the season of my happiness.
But what of poor Colonel Brandon?
Colonel Brandon. Colonel Brandon and his wet spring.
Colonel Brandon is the kind of man who everybody speaks well of, but who nobody cares about.
Why should you dislike him?
Why should you like him?
He is a very civil man, and he has seen a great deal of the world, and he always answers my inquiries with good breeding and good nature.
That is to say, he has told you that in the East Indies the climate is hot and the mosquitoes are troublesome.
You are both unfair to him, and it's not witty in either of you.
In defense of your protege, Miss Dashwood, you can even be saucy.
My protege, as you call him, is a very sensible man, and sense will always have attractions to me. Yes, Marianne, even in manhood 40.
Oh yes, he's very respectable. As respectable as a statue or a monument. Oh, our perfectly stiff inhuman colonel. I'm so amazed he could bend at the waist.
Well, I've always found him to be the perfect gentleman.
Oh, but not me.
Eleanor?
No, I fear she's only too right. Miss Dashwood, forgive me. And not a self-reproach, I cast myself at your feet. To once again bask in the light of your sweet approbation. I surrender my case entirely. I, John Willoughby, confess that Colonel Brandon's character is completely and entirely irreproachable. and yet I still can't stand him as much as ever. Oh, speak slow.
You'll never see from him.
Your poor timing, Brandon. I was just about to take Marianne to the greenhouse. There's a very interesting orchid there.
Orchids! Oh, I do adore orchids. Please, excuse us, Pam.
Oh,
Oh, your sister is full of life.
She is certainly energetic. Someday her disposition will settle, I hope.
I am sorry to think of her ever changing.
I cannot agree with you there. Marianne's ideas are all very romantic, but they discard propriety entirely. She would benefit from a more mature understanding of certain realities.
Don't desire it too much. I knew a lady who resembled your sister, and her introduction to what you might call realities was quite unfortunate. I will spare you the story. Pardon? You dropped this.
Yes.
Shall I have it laundered?
Oh, no.
But you see it is covered with ink.
Colonel, I'm so sorry. May I borrow my sister's attention for just a moment? Emerald, I have the most wonderful news. Willoughby has given me a horse.
A horse?
One which is specifically bred to carry a woman. He's sending his groom forth immediately.
Marianne, you cannot accept such a present.
Why not, Eleanor? We shall share its use.
A horse? From a strange man?
What strange man? We are speaking of Willoughby.
And he is very little known to you.
I may not have been acquainted with Willoughby for long, but I know him better than any other creature in this world. Besides you, Mamma, of course.
Marianne, let us not touch upon the impropriety of this note. We cannot afford to keep a horse.
Surely we can find the money.
We have enough to do just to keep ourselves respectable.
There must be something we can do.
We must go in for dinner.
Willoughby, I must speak to you about your final son.
But Marianne. Queen Mab is still yours, Marianne. I shall keep it so you can claim a fame more lasting home.
What is the matter with Brandon?
He left my dinner table.
No bad news, can I hope?
Oh, none at all, ma'am.
But what was that letter?
Merely a letter of business.
Then how did it discompose you so much? Come, let's hear the truth of it. Oh, I know who 'tis from, and I hope she's well.
Whom do you mean, ma'am?
Oh, you know who.
I am very sorry that I received this note, but I'm afraid it requires my immediate attendance in town.
In
What do you
town?
have to do in town at this time of year?
And I am so sorry to break up the party, but I am also afraid I must depart right this moment.
Tonight? Absurd. Go tomorrow instead.
I regret that I cannot.
There are some people who will not bear a party of pleasure. I'll pay 50 guineas at Brandon Invented District to get out of Park Avenue.
I have no doubt of it.
This is all very unorthodox.
Well, when will you come back again?
I dare not say.
Your horses are ready, sir.
You had better change your mind.
It is not in my power. Might I see you and your sisters in London this winter, Miss Dashwood?
No, I'm afraid not.
And I'm afraid I must say goodbye for longer than I should wish. Miss Marianne?
Colonel, before you go, do let us know what you were going about.
Goodbye, ma'am.
How provoking.
I can guess what his business is. It's about Miss Williams, I'm sure.
And who is Miss Williams?
She's a relation of the Colonel's, my dear. A very near relation. Although I will not say how near, for fear of shocking you. She is his natural daughter.
Indeed!
And as like him, she can sail. It was a great scandal in the county 15 odd years ago. The mother died, I understand, although we never could get all the details. He's very fond of the little love child. I dare say he will leave her all his fortune.
A love child from old, prim and proper Brandon, not a first-rate hypocrite.
Shh. Did Brandon give any further intelligence?
No. I suppose it must be something he's ashamed of. Or despite our reduced numbers, we must make ourselves merry. What do you all say to Rob after dinner? A short moonlight drive about the country?
Ask Mr. Willoughby and Miss Marianne about drives in the country. Ma'am, I found you out in spite of all of your tricks. This morning when we all went driving, when you two sped away out of sight, I made my woman inquire of your groom, sir, and I know where you spent the morning.
Yes, out in my carriage.
Yes, Mr. Impudence. And I found out where you went in that carriage. I hope you like your future home, Miss Marianne, and I'll look forward to visiting you in our barn.
A good trick on us, Willoughby. Tell me, have you still got that fine mare?
Why, yes, I do.
Marianne, did you really go to Alahan with Mr. Willoughby?
Yes.
With no companion other than Mr. Willoughby?
We did nothing wrong, Eleanor. Really, we just took a little stroll.
Marianne, even if Alahan was one day to belong to you, you would not be justified in what you have done.
Eleanor,
Why didn't you tell me?
why didn't you talk to me about Edward?
There is nothing to tell.
Our situations are alike then. There is truly nothing to tell. It's just Willoughby wanted particularly to show me these say privately, and I know it was unwise to go without a chaperone, but there is such a nice garden there, and a little sitting room just so.
No news of an engagement yet?
I cannot think of why. You used the Christian name quite openly.
Such an extraordinary silence.
What has happened?
Well, he does live quite expensively. Old-fashioned and old-fashioned, as they say.
And no news of an attachment yet? Why such secrecy?
Why such secrecy?
Why such secrecy?
I have such a secret to tell you both about Marianne. For I'm sure she'll be married to Mr. Willoughby very soon.
Margaret, you've said that almost every day since they've met.
But indeed, now I'm very sure they will be married very soon, for he's got a lock of her hair.
How do you know?
I know many secrets, Eleanor.
Margaret.
I saw him take it. Last night, after you and Mama left the room, they were whispering together. And he took up her scissors and cut off a lock of her hair. Then he kissed it and put it into his pocketbook. And today, she asked to stay at home alone. For I'm sure he must be visiting with her right now.
Margaret?
It's Mr. Willoughby's curtain outside. See? He did visit her.
Marianne?
Mr. Willoughby?
Okay.
Is anything amiss?
Yes, there's been a very heavy disappointment. I'm afraid I'm unable to do this.
Well, then perhaps
Mrs. Smith has recommended her poor, dependent cousin in London to conduct some business for her right away. I've never seen my marshal as I must leave immediately.
The business will not keep you from us long, I hope.
You are too kind, but I will not return to Devonshire anytime soon. Mrs. Smith will only have him for not more than once a year.
And it's Anaheim the only house in the neighbourhood in which you are welcome. For shame, Willoughby, do you need a formal invitation to visit us here?
Which you could. My engagements at present are such... It's as folly to linger. I will not torment myself by remaining here any longer.
Margaret, please run till Betsy and Marianne will come back to you. Please, dear.
Why do you always love to think the worst?
I don't, but what else could have happened?
Why, it's perfectly obvious. I can tell from...
Can you?
Yes, Mrs. Smith must have invented this business in London as an excuse to send Willoughby away. What is finally reached of the attachment between Willoughby and Marianne. She disapproves and strives to separate them. Because he is dependent on her, he dares not confess to her, yet, that they are already engaged, and must obey her wishes for a time. And that is why he cannot predict when he will return. Eleanor, what say you?
Nothing. You may be right, Mamma.
Your countenance suggests that you think otherwise. What are your conjectures?
I do not mean to cast suspicion. It may be prudent for them to conceal their engagement from Miss Smith, but why should they conceal it from us?
His entire behavior towards Marianne implies he considers her as his future wife.
My doubts may soon be done away. If they write to each other, they are obviously.
A mighty concession indeed. Ungracious girl. If you were to see them at the altar, would you then admit that they were going to get married?
Maybe we should ask Marianne directly if she is engaged.
You may do as you like, but I would find it very ungenerous to ever force such confidence. I would not ask that question for the world. Marianne shall tell me what she will, when she will, however she sees fit.
I have told Betsy. She wants to know if she should send Marianne's dinner up.
Let us practice your French then.
Nobody ever tells me anything.
Marianne, are you going for a walk? Shall I join you?
Where would you like to go?
On the dance? I'm sorry, Eleanor, I meant to go with me. Marianne, please. You've avoided everybody for weeks. Will you not take the air with me this once? The sky is very beautiful today. We never finished reading Marchment, Marianne. Perhaps we shall wait until Willoughby rejoins us, but it may be many months before that. Months? No, nor many weeks. Indeed. Marianne, have you and Willoughby, Eleanor, who is that? Is it Hannah Brandon? No. No, look. Is it Willoughby? No, look. Hello? Hello? Yes, hello, it is us. Hello? Mr. Ferris.
Miss Dashwood. Miss Marianne.
Edward, it is you.
Yes, hello. Hello. I'm very pleased to see you both.
Have you come directly from Lowland?
No, I have been in Devonshire a fortnight. I come purposely to visit you.
You have been in the county a fortnight?
I have been visiting some friends near Plymouth.
Well, come. Welcome. Mamma will be so pleased that you finally arrived. Perhaps I should run ahead and let her know that you're coming. No? Yep.
Wait, Marianne, wait! Perhaps we should all just walk together.
Sir John, Mrs. Jennings, may I present Mr. Edward Ferris?
Oh, Mr.
Harris! Ah, Mr. Ferris.
With unspeakable pleasure to meet you, Mr. Ferris. Would anyone care for some tea?
Ferris.
Edward, I have never seen this room before, is it new?
Yes, no, it is all, that is, View to me, recent. Have I not worn it before? Yes.
Mr. Ferris.
Long F, sir. Long F.
Mr. Ferris, you must have dinner with us tomorrow night, for we should be quite alone. The night after that, you must absolutely dine with us again, for we shall be a large party.
And perhaps when there is a dance for next week, how long shall we have in our corner of England, Mr. Ferris? We are quite bereft about young bachelors here. How long you remain a bachelor, that is?
Well, I am afraid I'm only staying for tonight.
No!
A lot of riding for such a short visit.
Only for tonight, Edward, really? Oh, I see. I suppose you came for some particular errand.
Oh, I see. I was in the county, ma'am.
Well, whatever the reason, we must have you stay longer now.
Yes, young man, do not be in any.
Stay.
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 Edward, really, you're more than welcome.
Stay.
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 I am afraid I must attend my mother.
Truly, Mr. Ferris, such a very short visit.
Why come at all?
It is too ridiculous. You must stay.
I'm sorry beyond what I can say, but I really must go to my mother.
Well, what are Mrs. Ferris' schemes for you at present, Edward?
Much the same, I am to rise higher in the world, but I must have no profession. That would be too common. Given the choice, I should like to find employment in the church, but it is not smart enough for my family. And so my own nicety and the nicety of my relations takes me to what I am. And I will help this being.
Come, Edward, such melancholy. Your mother will give you, in time, financial independence you are so anxious for. How much good may not a few months do?
I think I may defy many months to produce any good to me. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast no more. That is from Hamlet, Marianne, but perhaps you did not recognize it because my delivery is so improved. Forgive me if I am too saucy.
I love to think of the past, Edward. You will never offend me by speaking of it.
And do you not feel the same so strongly about Hamlet's beating heart as you once did?
At my time of life, opinions are fixed. It is not likely that I should change them now.
Marianne's as steadfast as ever.
I suppose she's grown a little more.
You need not reproach me, Edward. You are not so gay yourself.
No, I suppose not.
But worse, you are reserved.
Reserved?
Yes, very.
What do you mean?
Marianne thinks anyone too reserved who is not as open as she is. And here we are ourselves.
Well, Edward, I suppose we must bid you adieu. You know when you may return?
I cannot say.
Do come back soon. Really, Edward.
Miss Dashwood.
One moment, lady, and should I brought you some strangers? Miss Anne and Lucy Steele, going to stay with us at the park. How do you like them?
Thank you. I met them on a morning excursion to Exeter and discovered them to be my relations. Yes, the cousin of my cousin, Mildred's own Mr. John, nay, not you, sir. Shorter and fuller man, if you please. Very gouty, poor fellow. Never comfortable in the least bit of damn. What was I again?
The relations, man.
Yes! Can you imagine? Naturally, we invited them to stay with us directly. I dare say you can see the resemblance.
They're the sweetest girls in the world. You must come for a visit. You can't think how you will like them.
Come, come. Miss Marianne? Ta-ta! What a lovely room this is. It's very well appointed. Indeed.
How do you like Devonshire, Miss Dashwood? I suppose you were very sorry to leave Sussex and that big, fine house, especially when your father died and you lost all your money.
Very sad to leave Norman. Excuse me.
And heck, you a great many swept bow there. Maybe a vast many swept bow in Exeter, I'm sure. But Lord knows if I can tell what bow there might be about New Orleans. And perhaps the Stashwoods might find a door here, if they do not have as many bows as they used to have. Or perhaps you don't care about the bow and can leave me without. My partner, they're vastly agreeable, provided they're just smart and behave civil. Now, there's Mr. Rose at Exeter, close to Mr. Simpson. If you see him in the morning, he's not fit to be seen. I suppose your brother was quite above the Stashwood before he was married, as he was so rich now. Well, so John tells us Miss Marianne is a very special, handsome matter. And good luck to yourself finding a gentleman friend. That is, perhaps you have a gentleman friend already.
His name is Ferris, but pray do not tell it, for it's a great secret.
What is Ferris? Yes, Mr. Ferris. Why, we know Mr. Ferris very well.
We've met Mr. Ferris once or twice at our uncle's, but we hardly know him well.
Well, I shall say no more, not for all the money in the world. Now, I shall see if Miss Marianne knows any arias. I am passionately fond of an aria.
Yeah, I'm sure you're wrong. Miss Dashwood, please pardon me, but I wonder if I might ask you something rather odd. Pray, are you closely acquainted with your sister-in-law's mother, Mrs. Ferris? No, I've never met her. Truly? Oh, I suppose you might have visited Norway sometime. No, I'm afraid not. You must think me very strange to inquire about her. I wish I could tell you why I asked, but I do not wish you to think me impertinent. I could not bear to have you think me impertinent. I'd rather anything in the world than to be thought impertinent by a person like you. I assure you. And I do wish so much that I could tell you my reasons. And I would indeed be very glad of your advice on trying matter, but I do not wish to trouble you. I'm sorry you do not happen to know Mrs. Ferris. Yes, I'm sorry that I do not, but I must admit, I did not realize you were at all connected with that family. Forgive me, it was an odd question. Do not think it any more. Indeed. Dearest Miss Dashwood, can I trust you? Pardon? Would you keep a very great and brave and important secret? If I unburden myself to you entirely, would you promise never, ever, ever to tell anyone what I will tell you now? Mrs. Ferris is indeed nothing to me at present, but the time will come when we may be very intimately connected indeed. Good heavens! Have you a relation with Mr. Robert Ferris? No, I never saw him in my whole life, but I am engaged to his eldest brother. I dare say he never dropped the smallest hint of it to you and the family. It is a great secret, for I have no fortune, and we fear his mother will take away all his inheritance if he chooses to marry a girl with no money. I am sorry, but you must be mistaken. Surely we do not mean the same Mr. Edward Ferris. I can assure you I am not mistaken about the name of the man on whom all my happiness depends. Mr. Edward Ferris. Mr. Edward Ferris, if you mean no other. And may I ask if your engagement is of long term? We've been engaged these 4 years.
4 years?
Yes. But we've known each other for far longer. He was a pupil for many years with my uncle, Mr. Pratt, who lives at Longstaple. He visited us there recently, in fact. Oh, I suppose just before he visited you here. You are his friends in Plymouth. I am. Oh no, did you think him sadly out of spirits? Poor Edward. It does break his heart terribly for us to be separated. I gave him a rope of my hair set in a ring, and that was some comfort, he said, but not able to his being together. Perhaps you noticed the ring when you saw him.
Lucy, what is that song the doctor was asking you to sing last Thursday? Pardon my interruption.
Miss Dashwood, I do hope we can speak of this again. It is such a relief to confide in someone so much older and wiser. Until now, Anne is the only other person I've been able to ask advice of. And I know my dear Edward cannot be angry with me when confiding in me. He's told me so much about you and your family, and I know that he looks upon you quite as his own sister. Might we see you in London this winter? No. Well, I am sorry for that. We could have spent many happy hours together. Anne and I are going in December to see some relations, but I'm really going to see my darling Edward. I will, of course, give him your very, very best.
My dear Miss Dashwood, gather round, or Miss Marianne, if you prefer. Keep paddling away there. But do attend to me closely. I have a wonderful proposal for you, my girls. Every winter, you know, I'm in the habit of moving to a nice stump in London, near Portman Square. But this year, I have been scheming my little chickens, and I have hit upon it. I'm entirely resolved that this go-around, you both must accompany me to town as my guests, and keep the stupid old woman hopping.
Thank you, ma'am. It was very kind of her, but I'm afraid we cannot leave my mother.
Pooh, I'm sure she'll not object. On the contrary, she will think me very fit to procure you both a bevy of eligible young London bachelors.
Miss Marianne seems eager enough. Mr. Willoughby lives in town, does he not?
One or the other of you I must have. I cannot live poking around them myself. Come, Miss Marianne, let us strike hands upon the bargain. And if Miss Eleanor changes her mind by and by, why, so much the better.
Oh, I cannot thank you enough, Mrs. Jennings. I suppose I must ask my mother's permission first, but I assure you it would be with the greatest happiness imaginable.
That certainly sounds promising.
We will consult with Mamma, yes, but I do think she will decide against it.
Wonderful idea!
Can't I go? May not I go?
Absolutely, yes.
In a few years, I'll be beyond all improvement.
Mamma, I do not think this is prudent. Although Mrs. Jennings has a good heart, her protection cannot give us consequence in London.
If Eleanor is frightened away by Mrs. Jennings, it does not prevent my accepting her invitation.
What a sudden and miraculous display of enthusiasm for Mrs. Jennings!
I will have you both go. These objections are nonsensical. You will enjoy touring London, and if Eleanor will ever consent to anticipate enjoyment, she might foresee having a very interesting time. George and Fanny always go through town there, so you shall have to visit them. And perhaps in doing so, you may encounter some other members of the Ferris family.
But fair.
I like Edward Ferris well enough, but that's scarcely a reason to go all the way to London.
Must you always be so cold? Marianne, can't you see that going to London may secure both of our happiness forever? I must see with you or I will be mad. Please. Please come to me and behave yourself. Thank you. Are there any letters for me today? For me?
So you are expecting letters then?
No.
You have no confidence in me, Marianne?
This reproach from you, Eleanor. You can confide in no one.
Me? Marianne, I again have nothing to tell.
And our situations are alike. We both have nothing to tell. You, because you confide in no one, and I, because I conceal nothing.
Marianne.
Eleanor, it is him. It's him. Oh, it's Willoughby.
Oh. Miss Dashwood, I am pleased to see you in London.
Colonel! Oh, I am monstrously glad to see you. Pardon me a moment. Oh, I have been on my feet all day. I brought two young ladies with me, you see. You see but one of them now, but there's another somewhere. And it is your good friend, Miss Marianne. Yes, I thought that would please you. I do not know what you and Mr. Willoughby would do between yourselves about her. It is a fine thing to be young and handsome. Or so I think. I never was handsome, but I was young once, or so I seem to remember. I forgot to speak to the cook about dinner. One has always a world of odd little things to do after one has been away. And I've had old Cartwright to settle with. Lord, I've been as busy as a bee.
Miss Dashwood, might I congratulate you on your acquisition of a brother?
What do you mean?
Your sister's engagement to Mr. Willoughby.
If my sister's engaged to Mr. Willoughby, this is the first time I've heard of it.
Oh, their marriage is universally talked of.
By who?
By some of whom you know nothing. By others with whom you are most intimate. Is it true, Miss Dashwood?
Although they have never told me of their terms of their mutual affection, I have no doubt, and I cannot say I'm surprised to hear of their engagement.
Well, to your sister I wish all imaginable happiness, and to Willoughby that you will endeavour to deserve her.
Colonel! Do you prefer boiled fowls or veal cutlets? Colonel! Honestly, that man... A visit from Mr. Willoughby. Must be very teasing to you, Miss Marianne. But at the Fitzgerald's ball there will be many pretty young gentlemen to attend the ball to. And I'm sure Mr. Willoughby will turn up sharpish after he hears so many gentlemen you dancing tonight. I'm most excited. Willoughby!
Miss Dashwood.
Good God, Willoughby, will you not shake hands with me?
I do hope that your mother is well.
Have you not received my letters?
I did receive information on your arrival in town, which was so good as to send me. Please excuse me.
What? Eleanor, go to him, force him to come to me.
No, in front of all these people, not now, dearest, please.
I am unwell. I am very unwell.
Dear Miss Marianne, I have something from a certain special someone, which I am sure you will find to your liking. I know. I've never seen a young woman so desperately in love in my life. Pray, when are they to be married?
You don't really, ma'am, believe my sister is engaged to Mr. Willoughby. I always thought you were only joking.
For shame, Miss Eleanor. How can you talk so? We all knew that they were desperately in love with each other from the first moment they met. Because you are so sly about it personally, you think nobody else has any sense. But I can assure you, all society knows of it. From here to Devonshire and back again. I told everybody of it myself.
Indeed, ma'am, you are mistaken, and you are doing a very unkind thing, spreading the report.
Yes, yes, you are a very clever and subtle creature. Mom's going to the Banzeret, eh? I want to visit my Charlotte, but I've asked Susan to play a nice breakfast for you to just help yourselves. Ta-ta!
My dearest madam, I grant that something in my behaviour last night did not meet your approval. Although I'm at loss as to how I offended you, allow me to be plain. I'm sorry if you ever mistook our friendship for something more. But you must acknowledge that anything of that nature is and has been impossible, as my engagements have been of long standing with another young lady, John Willoughby.
Eleanor, what shall I do? What shall I do?
Marianne, please, try to stay calm.
How can I be calm?
What good did it do to become hysterical?
Leave me if it upsets you so much.
Do not indulge in this display.
Leave me, hate me, forget me. Do not ask me not to feel.
Marianne, it could have been much worse. Your engagement could have gone on much longer before he ended it.
What engagement?
You weren't engaged! But Marianne, you wrote to him!
Leave me alone, leave me alone!
How do you do, my dear? Poor thing. She looks very bad, and no wonder it is but too true. Miss Taylor told me to be downstairs, and I nearly sank on the spot. Well, said I, if this is true, then he has treated a young girl of my acquaintance abominably ill, and I wish with all my soul that his wife may plague his heart out. But he is not the only man in the world worth having, Miss Marianne. Soon you will be beating him back with a stout stick. Yes, yes, have your little cry out. Luckily the parents and Sandersons are coming tonight, and that will amuse her.
Dear man, I do not think my sister is leaving for Britain.
I can't believe the magic should bring girls so ill when there's plenty of money on one side and none on the other.
The lady then is very rich.
£50,000. The young Miss Gray, a stylish girl they say, but not very handsome. £50,000, which will not come before it is wanted, for they say he is to pieces. Well, 'tis a true saying about an ill wind. It will be all the better for Colonel Brandon. I will chuckle over this news. They'll be married by midsummer. I shall spirit him up as quickly as I can. Maybe he'll come tonight. One shoulder of mutton, you know, drives the other down.
All she wants is gossip, and she only likes me because I supply her with it.
Marianne,
I do not want to talk.
I will leave you. Please try and get some rest.
I recollected that I had some fine old Constantine wine in the house, and I poured a glass before your sister. My poor husband was very fond of it whenever he did touch his gout.
How could it be?
And your sister?
Marianne is unwell.
Well, then perhaps what I heard this morning, there is more truth in it than I thought possible.
What did you hear?
It concerned a certain gentleman.
You must mean Mr. Willoughby's sudden engagement to Miss Gray. Have you also heard that Miss Gray has £50,000?
How is your sister?
Her sufferings have been very severe.
Miss Dashwood, I may be able to relate some comfort. No, not comfort, but I may be able to relate some history about Mr. Willoughby, which will bring some clarity. Go on. You might find me an awkward narrator, please. In my youth, I knew a lady who was much like your sister Marianne, both in person and in temperament. I loved her, and she loved me in return. But Eliza had no fortune. When I was a young man with no independence and no occupation, I was under my father's power. He forbade the match, of course. A marriage of that kind is impossible, he said. Unthinkable. And though I fought my point profusely, I'm ashamed to say he won his point at the last. Threatened with disinheritance and disownment, I faltered, and Eliza was sent away. At 17, I was also sent to my regiment in the East Indies, and then lost contact with Eliza entirely. A man came by and treated her kindly for a while, and then another, and then another. I returned to England a grown man, with independence. I was determined to find her. By the time I did, she was dying in a poorhouse, her infant by her side. You might have heard some rumors about my ward, Miss Jane Williams. She is Eliza's daughter, whom I swore to look after as my own. That was 15 years ago. Last February, Jane suddenly disappeared from her boarding school. For months I could not find her. Finally, I received a letter from her. That night I left Barton so suddenly. In it, she did not name the man who had seduced her. His luck, for I would have done him violence at the table, even if he basked in your sister's smile. Mr. Willoughby. He left Jane in a situation of utmost distress, with no home, no help, ignorant of his whereabouts. She's 15 and now she's a child. This is beyond everything. When I came to you last week, I did not know how to stop the marriage between your sister and Mr. Willoughby without leaving scandal upon both her and my poor Jane.
Oh, who knew what his designs on Marianne were?
Miss Dashwood, I promise you that I do not believe in my heart that this may someday lessen Miss Marianne's regrets. I would have never burdened you with such information. I am sure I can be from your sister.
Marianne, before I wrote home to Mama, I have something to tell you.
I suppose you heard about Mr. Willoughby's very expeditious nuptials. I heard his predecessor is feeling much easier now. I heard his friends orange blossom and this here. They say the young man's last broken heart appears good. They have a course one. Indeed? Oh yes, she wrote her very open. Very open. Is there no one to keep that girl in check? And the father is dead, you know. What can you expect? I heard that you were not riding with him. Oh no! I'm not surprised.
I'm sure all the Dashwood girls went quite wild.
And nobody at all to speak of.
Then what did she expect?
Oh no. Silly girl.
Very bold.
Very foolish. What? Always.
And so you see, we never really knew Willoughby at all. Marianne?
I would sooner think myself deceived by all the world than by Willoughby. He has practiced nothing but deceit from beginning to end. I cannot explain his actions toward that poor girl, but whatever his sins, I know that he loved me. He loves me. That much is true.
Did he tell you he loved you?
Yes. No. It was every day implied but never declared.
It does not matter.
Of course it does. He is the worst kind of villain. No, he isn't. Not at heart. You say that you never knew him, but I did. I knew him as I know myself. If he is wicked, then perhaps so am I. For he and I are the same.
You are not being reasonable. You do not understand.
Perhaps I don't. Then how could you have written to him? I felt myself to be solemnly engaged to him, as if the strictest legal covenant had bound us. Obviously, he did not feel the same. Eleanor, he did. I may have been cruelly used, but not by Willoughby. Who else but Willoughby? I do not know. Well, whomever your enemy is, let them be cheated of their triumph by watching you rise above these circumstances. I care not who knows that I am wretched. It is easy for those with no sorrow to talk of calmness and exertion. Do you believe I have no sorrow, Marianne? Can you believe me capable of feeling at ease when I see you in this state? Forgive me. I know that you feel for me and I do not wish to make you unhappy, but mine is a misery which nothing can ever do away. I want to go home.
My dear sister, so delightful to see you in town. Fanny and I wanted to stop in on you earlier, of course, but very good visiting and being visited.
Visit, 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 visit.
Whatever is the matter with Marianne? She looks very unwell. Oh, I am sorry for that. At her time of life, anything with an illness destroys the bloom forever.
Too pale. She's thin. Too pale and thin. She's not that thin.
Well, Fanny always said that Marianne would certainly marry better than you did, but the way she is now, I doubt she could catch a man with more than 500 or 600 a year. Please excuse me, twittering about marriage of an old dowager. But of course we'll be talking of nothing else in my household. It's finally time, for Edward to settle.
Is Mr. Ferris going to be married?
It is not battened down entirely yet, but his mother has decided that she will give him his independence just as soon as he agrees to marry the Honourable Miss Morton.
Lord Morton's daughter? £30,000!
And what does Mr. Ferris think of the arrangement?
I do not know if anyone has told him. I'm sure he'll be delighted. It's an excellent match. But that is all to come. In the meantime, I would like to invite you to a little dinner party. We must attend. Fanny is wild to see you.
Party? Party? A party, party, party!
Miss Dashwood, Miss Marianne. Oh, look, Lucy. It's our particular friend. How do you happen to be in his company? I may as well ask the same thing of you. I must confess I'm amazed to see you, for you told me, you'd not ever come to town at all. And yet, here you are. Why are you here?
Why, just last week, we were at the sweetest little milliner's shop on Bradley Street, and we started talking with a terribly elegant lady, and who was quite a mummy with the hats. I thought the milliner should faint, and well, Lucy is such a way with children. And one thing led to another, and it turns out that the terribly elegant lady was Mrs. John Dashwood! And we have visited almost every day since then, and she's invited us to this party. And look, here we are. That was that funny.
Oh, good. We've all discovered each other, I see. What a small world. We're all such friends already. Come, ladies, let me introduce you.
Miss Dashwood, pray for me. In a moment I shall meet the person that is to be my mother.
Our host, Mrs. Ferris. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Ferris says that the Miss Steeles are exceedingly pretty.
Miss Dashwood, Robert Ferris, have told you that you Leicestershire in a cottage?
They did.
For my own part, I'm excessively fond of a cottage. There was so much elegance in a cottage. If I had any money to spare, I would build a cottage. All my friends visit me in my cottage. I advise everyone I see to build a cottage. My intimate friend, Lord Corsair, the Lancaster Cardinals, came to me the other day and laid before me 3 different architectural schemes. Which one should I go, Robbie? He said. My dear Cardinal, I said, sort more directly to the fire. Do not put any of these deplorable shacks. But by all means, build a cottage. A cottage, man. A cottage, a cottage, a cottage. And that was the end of that. Miss Steele, do you reside in a cottage?
I do not.
More than a pennant.
Yes, quite agree. Hey, that is Edward's brother. They're very alike.
Very fond of cottage.
Mrs. Dashwood, I cannot thank you enough for the invitation to dine tonight. And in my own right, overwhelmed by your generosity, I only hope you do not intrude.
Oh, Miss Steele, how could a charming creature such as yourself ever intrude? Indeed, Mother. Oh, Mother says how unusual it is nowadays to encounter young ladies as charming and modest as leisurely Miss Steele's. Oh, a young woman of your sort never intrude here.
Mrs. Ferrars, you are too kind. I could just stay here forever. Your home is so lovely. These sketches on the wall, so well executed. Did you draw them, Mrs. Dashwood?
Oh, these were done by Lou.
Did you know we should have Miss Morton paint something for us? She does paint ever so delightfully.
Beautifully, but she does everything well.
Who is Miss Morton? Why are we talking about Miss Morton? Eleanor made these sketches and they are beautiful.
Well, Miss Morton is Lord Morton's daughter, if you must know. Well, dear Eleanor, do not mind them. Do not let them make you unhappy.
Shall we go in for dinner?
My dearest friend, can you believe it?
What? Exactly?
Did you not see Mrs. Ferrars' way of treating me yesterday? So exceedingly affable, so kind from the moment I was introduced. She really seemed to take a special fancy to me. Were you not quite struck with it?
She was certainly very civil to you.
Did you see nothing but civility?
If his family knew of your engagement, then nothing could be more promising than their treatment of you. But as that is not the case.
Why in the world would they pretend to like me if they did not? Mrs. Ferrars' affability itself, and so is your sister-in-law, and I think it will all work out splendidly, and all my fears are for nothing.
I suppose time will tell.
Why did you never mention, Miss Dashwood, how exceedingly charming your sister-in-law is? She is generosity itself. She wrote Anne and I a little note this morning and invited the both of us to stay with her for a bit. Isn't that very delightful? Are you ill, Miss Dashwood? You seem rather low.
I have never been in better health.
Really? You do not look it. Oh, I'm so glad his mother loves me already. I would have given up all hope if he had treated me in a forbidding sort of way and made clear that I was unwelcome. For when she does dislike people, I know it's most unshakable and violent.
Mr. Ferrars.
Oh, well, Miss Dashwood, Miss Steele.
Please be seated.
Thank you, Miss Dashwood.
I came to inquire after your mother.
She's very well, thank you.
Excellent. And the youngest Margaret, your sister.
Very well. Very well, thank you.
Edward! I have you announced.
Oh, Miss Marianne, how do you do?
I am very unwell. But don't think of me. Eleanor is well, you see. Surely that is all that matters.
Does not so well. Does not so. I do not agree.
Not at all. I expected to find much pleasure here, but the sign of you is the only comfort it has afforded thus far. We had the most awful, wretched morning at Harley Street yesterday, Edward. I had so much to say to you about it that I cannot say it at the moment. But why weren't you there?
I'm afraid I was engaged elsewhere.
Engaged elsewhere, when such friends were to be met. Perhaps, Miss Marianne, you think young men never keep any engagements at all? Not at all. I'm sure that Edward had something very important to do to keep him from us. Did you have some previous pressing obligation, Edward? I knew it. Edward truly has the most active conscience in the world, you know, and only would have disappointed us for fear of breaking his promise to another. He is truly the most fearful of failing expectations or causing pain to others of anyone I have ever met, and he always does the right thing, whether it makes him happy or not. Edward, it is so, and I will say it.
Please do excuse me. I have only come for a moment. I have an appointment to see a horse. To buy. I may buy the horse if it is a good horse.
Leaving so soon, Edward, it can't be. I'm afraid I must also be on my way. If you are leaving, Mr. Ferrars, perhaps you would be so good as to escort me as far as the car.
Why, yes, delighted. Miss Marianne, Miss Ashwood.
What on earth could have brought that creature here? Could she not see that we wanted her gone? Oh, how teasing to poor Edward. Why not? We are all friends, and he has known Lucy, not a creature, the longest. So I'm sure he's very happy to see her. Eleanor, you know I cannot stand things when you say that they are not true when they are. Miss Marianne, have you heard the news at your sister's house? A scandal, a real scandal. I cannot think what it's taken Lucy so long to her toilet this morning. I suppose she must put a ribbon in her hair after seeing mine. Cinnabon suits you marvelously, my dear. Oh. Now, you are going to think me silly too, but why shouldn't I wear pink ribbons? Pink is the doctor's favorite color, but I don't wear it just to please him. Oh, you young ladies and your beaux, it is all so diverting. Ah, la, but you must not keep every heart for yourself. You must leave some bachelors for dear Miss Lucy. Oh, Lucy gets more than enough attention, ma'am. Pray tell. Well, Lucy has a beau herself, though her soul knows better than me. I'm vast of knowledge, I could tell you, were I so free. Now, Miss Anne, you know that Miss Lucy and yourself are family too, and I'm afraid in this family we permit no secrets. I will ask you once more, Madame, who is the lucky gentleman, and where is his lodging? No, I mustn't tell you, ma'am. Now, if you aren't wearing that new spotted No, I shall not be put off so easily. Who is he? Well, you do get along so fondly with Lucy that there should be no difficulty at all. Lucy's engaged, ma'am! Engaged?
no notions of people's making such a to-do about money and greatness. Miss Marianne, are you ill?
I think my sister just wants rest, Mrs. Jennings. Please let me attend to her.
Yes.
Marianne, I knew. Has I been written to you? I've known it these 4 months. Lucy told it to me herself and swore me to secrecy before I knew what I was promising. How have you longed? What else was there to do? But his behaviour towards you, for 4 months, yet you love him. Yes, but I do not love only him. I was glad to spare my loved ones from my unhappiness. How could Edward be engaged to that creature? He was very young when he met Lucy, and as confined as he was to his mother and upbringing, I'm sure that she was very refreshing. She's lively and can make herself agreeable when she wishes, and if when he grew older he saw something of her true nature, well then, I'm sure he was too honourable to break off their engagement. Edward, as we have always said, has a most active conscience. But his behaviour towards you, I must acquit Edward of all misconduct. I am sure that he feels something for you. Even if that is true, nothing is to be done. Edward will marry Lucy, and I truly wish him very happy. Your way of thinking is so practical, I'm not surprised that you are calm. I understand. You do not believe that I have ever felt much. For 4 months, Marianne, I have known of Edward's engagement. For 4 months, I have had to listen to Lucy's hopes and exultations again and again. For 4 months! I have never been able to confide in anyone. I am to be divided from Edward forever. Nothing he has done has ever proved him unworthy, and I do believe now that he does feel something, as you say. In short, I have suffered all the consequences of extreme attachment without enjoying any of its advantages. If you ever believe me capable of feeling anything, Marianne, surely you can believe that I have taken this force very deeply. My current composure is the constant and painful exertion to maintain control over myself. Believe me, I have done my duties, but I have been very unhappy. And in all, I do not know what to say. Promise me something, Marianne, anything. Promise never to speak of the matter with the least appearance of bitterness. Speak only civilly and discreetly to everyone whom you may inquire. Yes, even Edward and Lucy. But please. Yes, of course, I promise.
Have heard, I suppose, of the very shocking discovery that took place under our roof yesterday.
Shocking, appalling, absurd.
And he says that she will never trust anyone again after being so betrayed. I now wish, said poor Fanny, that we had even asked your sisters to stay with us instead of the Steeles.
Why, thank you. Generous. Most generous.
She sent for Edward, but I'm sorry to arrange what happened. His mother told him that she would give him his independence should he simply give up the girl and marry Miss Morton. That she would even settle on him the Norfolk estate, which brings in a good 1,000 a year. But should he choose to marry Miss Steele, she would disown him entirely. And should he attempt to find any profession at all, she would do anything in her power to prevent him from advancing it.
Gracious God!
Well, may you explain, Marianne, Mrs. Ferrer's generosity. Edward said very little, but what he did say was most unfeeling to his mother and sister, who both attempted to help him see the error of his ways. He refused to give up the ways. He would stand to the third.
He's acting like an honest man. I beg your pardon, Mr. Dashwood, but I have some concern in the business. For Lucy Steele is my relation.
I do not mean to speak disrespectfully of any connection of yours, but in the present case, you must see that
Well, sir, and how did it end?
Did his mother cast him off? Is he ruined entirely?
I'm sorry to say, it ended in the most unpleasant rupture. Edward is to be removed from Mrs. Fair's notice and disinherited. His mother has decided, with a very natural kind of spirit, to give it all to Robert immediately.
Thus ends Edward Ferrars, the great untrappable bachelor.
How does he propose to marry anyone now that he's penniless?
Impossible!
But Robert Ferrars is a very rich man.
A very rich man.
And very unmarried.
It is a grave situation indeed. I can see the natural anxiety on their faces, but do not worry. There is no material danger to the family's health, though she suffers severely from the angel. Yes, the angel.
This town gets worse every year, my dears. Bad behavior all around. I think the Hamilton will be back at Barton soon. We'll stop only for a visit with my daughter Charlotte at Cleveland, and there will be home again, as quickly as you please.
Cleveland? No, I cannot go to Cleveland.
Oh, because Mr. Willoughby has property in the county. Indeed, they are almost neighbors. I think one can see his home from Ed Hill on Charlotte's estate. Oh, I'm sorry, but you will never see him. I've told my Charlotte all about his wicked treatment of you, and her dear Mr. Palmer will shoot him like a pheasant on sight. He will be very safe, I'm sure.
Thank you, ma'am. We are very happy to go with you. It was an excellent time.
Eleanor, you cannot seriously expect me to go to Cleveland.
We will only be there a few days and we shall remain in the house the entire time. I promise there is no chance you will see me. We may even ask Colonel Branton to escort us back home from there. Please, it is the quickest, most eligible manner in which to return. We know we are both eager to be gone.
I would be honored to escort you whenever you wish to leave the Palmers. Miss Dashwood, there is another matter I must discuss with you. I have heard of the injustice your friend Mr. Ferrars has faced, and I feel as if I could be of some use. How so? I heard your friend Mr. Ferrars would like to enter the church. The living of Delaford is vacant and mine to appoint. Would you be willing to tell him that I would be willing to name him as rector if he thinks it worth his acceptance? It is not a lot, but it is enough for him to marry upon.
How generous of you, Colonel, but wouldn't you rather offer him the position yourself?
I do not know him well. I have only met with Mr. Ferrars 2 or 3 times. Seeing as you are his good friend, I feel he would be more willing to accept the good news from you.
Miss Dashwood, I received a letter from Mrs. Jennings that you wish to speak.
Yes. Hello. Yes. I have something of consequence to inform you of. I'm charged with the retrieval office. Our dear friend Colonel Brandon has desired me to say that, understanding you need to take orders, he has offered you the living of Delaford. Allow me to congratulate you and to join in his wishes that it may allow you to establish all your views of domesticity.
Colonel Brandon.
Yes. The Colonel wishes to help you in any way he can, as do we all.
Colonel Brandon, give me a living!
The unkindness of your family has made you astonished to find kindness anywhere.
Oh, no, I am sure I owe this to you.
Oh, indeed, you are mistaken. I had no hand in it. Not that I wouldn't have a hand in it, if I had a hand to give in it.
Oh, Miss Dashwood, when I became engaged to Miss Lee, I was very young and quite stupid with Colonel Brandon lodges, I think, on St. James Street.
I think so.
I must hurry away then now. Thank you.
May I give you my unceasing good wishes to your happiness?
Mine for yours.
Dashwood. Oh, Colonel. May I introduce my daughter Charlotte? The prettiest of my daughters. Oh, Charlotte, how you've grown so plump.
Eleanor, I am so stiff from the carriage. I may take a walk around the grounds. It is late and it looks as if it is going to rain. Only wait until tomorrow and I shall walk with you. It is not going to rain. I shall go mad if I do not walk. I will be back soon. At least take your shawl.
Is she going to die? I must send for a dispatch to Barton. My mother must get here as soon as possible.
With your leave, I will bring the message myself. It will be faster and I can bring her back directly.
That's not necessary, Colonel.
Miss Dashwood, give me something to do. I will return with your mother. Look for us before 10 o'clock.
Diane? Can you hear me? You cannot do this to me. I will not stand for it. You are being very ridiculous. I'm sorry. I do not mean it. I promise that if you get better, I will never charge you again. Diane, you cannot leave me here alone. Please, dear, don't leave me here alone. Pardon me, sir, but the servants must have forgotten to tell you that Mr. Palmer is not at home.
Had they told me that Mr. Palmer and all his relations were the devil, they would not have turned me from the door. How's your sister?
You have no right to ask. Mr. Willoughby!
Forgive me, I've been drinking.
What do you want?
I want to make things right. I want something like forgiveness from Marianne.
Marianne! You should not be so familiar.
Is she in much danger, as they say? Is she dying? Oh gosh, this is all my fault. Please, just let me see her.
No.
I never wanted any of this to happen.
I must ask you to leave.
When I first met your sister, all I wanted was an item value, something to do in the country.
Mr. Willoughby.
I mean, you misunderstand me. At first I thought it was only a harmless flirtation. And at first I thought surely she knew that it would never lead to anything serious. And you must also see that it's impossible for me to seriously pursue a girl with no fortune, no station, no forgive me, no notable family. But quite against my intentions, the part I played became the most pressing reality. And you know what? I found myself most terribly in love.
Oh, did you?
I was going to ask her to marry me.
And what precisely stopped you?
Mrs. Smith.
You must have been very foolish indeed.
Mrs. Smith, you have just been informed of a regrettable connection of my past.
I know your history, Mr. Willoughby.
And I can guess who might have told you. But to ask yourself, is it truly impartial? It was wrong, yes, I would never have touched Jane. But do not suppose that because I were in the time, she was the same.
Oh, any weakness on her part is no excuse.
I assure you, Miss Dashwood, I paid richly for my sins. Mrs. Smith pronounced me no gentleman. I've been summarily disinherited. I've lost everything. Should I have gone to jail? I've no practical choice but to give up Marianne.
When you left Marianne that day, did you tell her you would soon return?
I do not know what I told her. I was out of my head. I had to resolve to forget her entirely.
Well, you did an excellent job. You ignored her letters, shunned her in public, and exposed her to the worst kind of gossip and intrigue. Now, is this all evidence of the great love you bore her?
Everything had already been settled between Miss Grey and me.
Well, then you have made your choice, and you shall be held to it. Goodbye.
I must see her.
Seeing you will endanger her recovery.
Recovery?
Her fever broke last night. She is no longer in any material danger.
Miss Dashwood, you have been very cruel.
As have you.
You needn't punish me anymore, Miss Dashwood. I'm unhappy enough, I assure you. My marriage alone is a reward for my folly.
Oh, you must not speak of your wife in that way.
I shouldn't. Should I? Yet, if ever on thine island stood the tear that pity had engendered, not one hair. This man was happy once, but conscience has her part, and writes a doomsday letter upon his heart. Hope, the poem, how burst.
You really should leave.
I will, but before I make you hate me entirely, Miss Dashwood, would you please repeat to your sister what I've been telling you? Tell her that my heart was never unfaithful to her. Look, Marianne may be lost to me forever, but if I were by any chance free again...
Mr. Willoughby!
Yes, well, goodbye, Miss Dashwood. God bless you.
Willoughby, I do pity you.
Colonel Brandon, I cannot thank you enough. You shall never know what it meant to me. Colonel,
It's not a position which I say. My voice is very deep, higher than the stress of yesterday. Perhaps I am very conscious of it.
To judge from his spirits, he does not think that there is much hope.
Things that they is imagine to be protected and shaped. The way that goes apart the again is not the evening whatever it happens.
Did you know that Shakespeare writes in a rhythm precisely matches that of the human heart?
Yes, but I think he meant it all. Do you think him selfish? He has practiced nothing but selfishness, but from the beginning to the end of the affair. His own pleasure was in every particular his ruling principle.
I suppose my happiness was no result of it.
At present, he regrets marrying your mother. And why does he regret it? Because it has not made him perfectly happy. But had he married you, he would have been poor and suffering all the poverty attending evil.
Eleanor, I agree with you. Are you surprised?
A little.
I am glad we have spoken of it. I never could have been happy with him after knowing what he did to that poor girl. But it does make me happy to know he was not always fooling me, not always acting a part. It makes me feel not such a fool. And yet, I still feel sorry for him. Does that make me quite foolish?
No.
No, not at all. I'm grateful we have spoken of it. I truly could not have been happy with him after knowing what he did to Miss Gray, and I regret nothing apart from my own behaviour.
Do you compare your behaviour with his?
No, I compare it with what it should have been. I compare it with yours.
Well, you are a goose.
But we must go back, you know.
Why? Are you tired?
No, the Colonel has promised to read the Tempest with me this evening, and I do not wish to be late. He is very good.
I suppose you know, ma'am, that Mr. Ferris is married. Betsy, Miss Marian's ill!
No, I am fine. What's it, please? Who told you that Mr. Ferris was married, Thomas?
I just saw his new bride, Mrs. Steele, as was. She and Mr. Ferris were shopping in a trip outside New London Inn. She said hello and sent her best to the family, especially Miss Eleanor, and I made free to wish her joy.
But she told you that she was married, Thomas?
Yes, ma'am. She said she was Mrs. Ferris now.
And was Mr. Ferris with her?
I didn't see him, ma'am, but I imagine well enough, for she seemed vastly contented.
Margaret, go and pick some pretty flowers, won't you?
Oh, yes.
Mama, Colonel Brandon is at the gate. Oh, Steve, perhaps go and meet him, dearest. I shall not be waiting.
Mama, it's not Colonel Brandon, it's Edward.
What?
It's Edward. Good God, it is Edward.
I will be calm. I will be mistress of myself.
Sit down, right there.
I hope that you have done Mr. Ferris very well.
Rather well, I think, yes.
And is Mrs. Ferris at Loxton?
Oh, no, my mother's in town.
I meant to inquire after Mrs. Edward Ferris.
Perhaps you mean Mrs. Robert Ferris.
Mrs. Robert Ferris?
Mrs. Robert Ferris?
Perhaps you do not know or may not have heard that my brother is lately married to the one and only Miss Lucy Steele.
Your brother?
Yes, I received a letter from Miss now Mrs. Robert Ferris, that she dashed off an acquaintance. My brother is very popular, now you see, because of his inheritance, and she sends her cap at him. And I believe, as they say, they were married last week. Miss Dashwood, you must allow me to tell you how ardently I am very sensible of the impropriety that from the moment I first... Oh, Eleanor, if I loved you any less, perhaps I might be able to talk about it more.
Mr. Ferris, your behavior on this has been very wrong.
Very wrong, very blamable. Eleanor, when I met Lucy Steele, I was a very foolish, idle, ignorant young man. I was not allowed to choose a profession and could do nothing but fancy myself in love.
But your behavior towards me!
I was simple enough to think that because my faith is promised to another, there could be no danger in my being with you. And then when I knew I was in love, I thought, the danger's only my own. I'm doing no injury to anybody but myself.
Mr. Ferris.
But won't you forgive me, darling, dearest Eleanor? Won't you be mine?
Edward. Eleanor, may we come in? Margaret! Ow! There you are. Oh, Eleanor. I know.
Garcia, who built our stage, helped build our stage. Alright, now, Professor Rafael Peralta, who leads the tech room.